Welcome to the Realizations Podcast. I'm Andrea Gordon, your host, and I'm excited to explore the world of real estate with you. In a world where perceptions often overshadow reality, Realizations seeks to redefine what it means to be a realtor. Join me as we peel back the layers of the industry, uncovering inspiring stories and celebrating the good in real estate. Whether you're a homeowner, a fellow realtor, or simply curious, this podcast is for you. Welcome to Realizations, where perceptions meet reality. Let's dive right in.
Hi, everybody. It's Andrea Gordon, your host of Realizations, the podcast about everything real estate. And today I'm excited to have Kurt Byers on with us. He's going to talk about investment, and they do it at such a grand scale. It's kind of amazing. I will be talking with him about how he got into the business, etc. And I just really want to expose all of you to all the varied possibilities there are in real estate. So real estate can be residential, it can be commercial, it can be investment, it can be for someone buying a home for themselves, and all of them require different skill sets. So as part of my ongoing attempt to educate the American public about how complicated and interesting real estate really can be, and how it can't be just done like by pushing a button on a program. I'm talking to all kinds of people all across the country and finding out all kinds of things about it. And so excited to have you here today, Kurt. So what is the full name of your company?
It's called New Western.
New Western. And what provoked that name?
It was back in 2008. And I think they were bouncing off a few different names, and that just felt like it's kind of just the new opportunity to invest in real estate, kind of rising from the 2008 crisis.
Right.
So, it's kind of what stuck.
There you go. Okay. Well, Kurt, you are in Dallas, Texas, and you have national partnerships with people in 21 states. You are a real estate marketplace for investment, and you have over 250,000 investors that you work with. And what is exactly involved in your exact job? I'm curious.
So my exact job, it's fun because it's a little everything. It's kind of like when there's a new initiative or a partnership that comes aboard or an idea, I kind of help bring that to the company. So I work with all of our acquisition and disposition partners. So that means, national brokerages, direct to seller companies, wholesalers. And really our job is to help those companies do more deals. And a lot of times, like a national brokerage, they have a lot of homes that aren't going to be ideal to list, whether they need 200,000 in work or the seller needs to move in 5 days. We can handle all of those situations, and we'll buy with cash. So it's a really kind of a benefit or an added bonus to those brokerages or those other partners. So they kind of have us in their back pocket to help with those homes. And then I also do some like lobbying, government relations to kind of help the industry make sure that everything is kind of moving in the right direction. We do all of our events, a little bit of everything, which is fun. So I've really enjoyed my time here.
That's wonderful. How many people on the staff of your company?
So we have about 100 agents and then about 300 something corporate.
Got it. Okay. And curiously, the agents are in different states, so they're very well versed with all the rules and regulations of all those different places. Do you ever work directly with buyers yourself, or from corporate? Do you ever work directly with buyers, or is there always an agent involved in the transaction?
Oh, there's always an agent involved because we really believe that the local market level knowledge is what helps drive real estate. We don't do like the algorithm offers or, just buy it sight unseen. We really have all of our investors work directly with an agent. And so they have to be connected one-on-one to one of our agents. Now, all helps out partners to work with our agents to buy houses, but they have to work with one of our agents in that local market. And some work in 10 markets, but they're with an agent in every market. So they don't just get one for kind of a blanket acrylic.
Right. And is your company, would you say that your regular investor is a redeveloper, or as we call them, flipper? Would that be your main customer source, or are there people that are holding on to these properties after fixing them up and using them as just pure investments?
Yeah, so we have a very good mix, kind of that traditional fix and flip or rehab and rent. Those are kind of our two main categories. We also have people that do the short term or the mid term, kind of like a pad split. But really, it's just a matter of the majority of it is, people doing 1 to 10 deals a year. We don't work with a ton of national investors or people that are doing it at scale just because we're such a hyper localized in each office that, the average transaction in our marketplace happens in 90 minutes. And so you really do have to be local and ready to invest. And so it's a lot of people just, corporate refugees getting into fixing and flipping houses or, people that want to build a portfolio, but they want that built-in equity up front. And so they'll come in some that needs work and then rent it out. So,
Okay. Okay. And, I come from Berkeley, California, and we have draconian rent control here. And also there are every single year, new regulations are created to basically stop flippers from making huge profits. How do you keep abreast of all the different laws that come into play, or do you just stay out of areas that have these kinds of regulations?
I'd say, well, one, we have about 10 people on our legal and compliance team that help our different offices make sure they're fully up to date with our contracts and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, there are certain areas that I think are harder to invest. I mean, we have 3 offices in LA. So we go south and north of there some, but really it's just a lot of knowledge and education to making sure we're staying on top of all the regulation and making sure the seller is still benefiting. There has to be enough benefit for the investor to take on the risk for the project, but the seller, if they're not benefiting, then that's where a lot of the regulations come from. So we always try and stay on top of that to make sure everyone's kind of winning in this situation.
Sure.
So large stay on top of, for sure.
What is the average price point that most of your redevelopers are working with?
So it's hard because, we're in LA, but we're also in like a Birmingham or an Indianapolis.
Right.
But we tend to be in kind of that affordability band. We just came out with our national report on our data, and we tend to be about 21 to 25% below the median price point market. And so we're kind of in that more affordable band. In LA, though it's different than Birmingham, but we always kind of fall within that lower than the median because of the types of projects and being able to bring them back to the market after rehab.
Yeah, I mean, in my city, the median house price is 1.2 million. And in my other city that I work a lot in, Oakland, the median house price is $1,053,000. So it's very hard to find something that is going to be worth fixing up and then flipping back onto the market because the margin isn't there. What is an average margin for an investor to make something a valuable purchase for them?
I think it all kind of it depends as well. Like if you're, in LA, we're buying sometimes $2-3 million $3 million homes, and sometimes it takes some very high end finishes to get that $3 million home to a $4 million home on the return. But I think a lot of times there may not be the same kind of rule of thumb as there is like the 1%, but I think you have to look at what the ARV is with the cost of the rehab. So if you're going to go in,
and by the way, for my viewers, what is an ARV?
Sorry, after repair value. So it's essentially all of our agents have MLS data, so they're comping the property to see post rehab what this would go for on the market. And so the investor needs to take into account how much the rehab will cost, their holding costs, and then what they think they can resell it for when they return it back to the market. So a lot of times, if you're only doing 2 or 3 projects a year, sometimes that margin is 30,000. Sometimes you're doing 15 a year and you're making 10 on every project and they're a little tighter. But we had partnerships like with Home Depot, who are our investors, can save 5,000 plus perf. And we try to make certain things to allow our margins to be smaller so that we can pay the seller more, but our investors are still, making as much as possible on the back end.
Got it. And out of curiosity, what is the timing generally on most of these purchases?
I think the average return to market is 4 to 6 months. Some people, I've heard people doing it in 2. Some people take a little longer. Another factor can be permitting. One nice thing.
That was my next question.
One nice thing about some of this is a lot of times we're repairing a home that's already zoned for what it's going to be. And so as long as you get the permits to update the kitchen or do other things, it moves pretty quickly compared to a new build, which can take, more than a year. So we're turning a lot of that inventory without doing a ton of regulatory work. Obviously, we're staying within the framework, but we don't have to do a ton of like new development studies and things like that. Nice.
Do you have investors who buy land and then do build? Yeah.
Yeah, we sell land as well. Yeah.
In our area, it's taking roughly 18 months to get to the point where you are actually finishing a house. And that would be fast, by the way.
It would. We were at a conference last year in DC. It was like a housing supply summit. And it was amazing to hear the timelines from LA compared to like other cities where it's like, yeah, let's move this forward. I mean, the whole cost alone of the land is crazy.
Well, that's the other part of all of this. A few years ago, I managed to get landowners to donate their land to the Berkeley Humane Society. So I raised $450,000 for my cause, because in Oakland, they have a parcel tax that if you have not built on your parcel, you're taxed at the very minimum $5,000 a year.
Most of those people probably want to have already built on it.
Well, not only that, or they don't want to build on it at all and they inherit it. And it just becomes like useless. We also have something called Prop 19, which I'm sure you're familiar with, whereby someone who inherits a property in our area cannot get the tax base on it if they don't live in the property that they inherit. Now, this creates a huge hardship for a lot of people because they inherit investment properties, or they inherit a property that they have to share with 6 siblings. And so immediately the tax base will rise to what the prevailing tax value would be. And they can't afford to hold on to it because they suddenly would get hit with a property tax bill of $30 or $40 or $50,000 a year. So it's a little challenging for those kinds of things. Have you found that I know 2021 was a banner year for everyone. It was incredible. I normally sell 60 to 80 million. So let's just say 70 million annually. I sold 112 million that year, and it was the same number of units, by the way.
Yeah.
And that just gives you an idea of what the pricing differential was. Prices have dropped back. In 2025 has been a little crazy for buyers because so much uncertainty and worry about the tariffs and worry about the just the economy in general. Have you found that it has affected your business at all?
Yeah, I mean, I think the market conditions certainly have been tougher. Like that, those banner years were pretty fun.
Wonderful, yeah.
Well, we've been pretty consistent, to be honest, which has been nice. I think because a lot of our investors are able to bring it back at a lower price point. Because I feel like you either have the people that are buying in there or they're buying like pretty high end, but there's a ton of sitting inventory.
And yes.
A lot of our investors have been able to, because like we're supplying those properties that kind of buying deeper, understanding that the market is tough. And so you just really have to price it right. And a lot of our investors GC it themselves, or they are the general contractor and they're managing subs themselves. So they're cutting costs because of their expertise, whereas, trying to do that at the retail level can be a lot more expensive. So we're able to kind of bring things back maybe cheaper than others because we're not paying, exorbitant amounts on different costs, whereas they're incurring that themselves because they have the expertise and they got into flipping because they were good at it.
Do you have a mortgage company associated with your company?
Yeah, so we own a private hard money lender called Sherman Bridge. They're essentially a marketplace. So they will loan a small amount, but really the power of it is we connect our investors based on their expertise, their income, the project with the right lender within the marketplace. And that's, if you have 0 years of experience, maybe you go with this lender, will get you a better rate. And so we kind of help control that for the investors so that their project gets done on time and we handle a lot of the transaction coordination behind it.
I am actually curious here because I'm trying to figure out exactly how you make your money. because you have an agent in the field who's at a brokerage. Is it your brokerage that they're at, or is it okay? So all of these 21 states that you're in, you own brokerages in every single one of those states.
Yep.
And you get a percentage from each sale from those agents, just like a standard broker would.
Yeah. So essentially our model is a little different because we'll buy the property and then we'll resell it to our investor after closing on it. They'll get the title. And then once it's closed, back-end investor will then close on it with us through the second transaction. And so we can just take that small margin in the middle.
So everything has an assignee and it gets assigned at close of escrow.
Yeah. So we buy it's from wholesalers, but we typically double close everything unless there's, for instance, like a really tricky probate or something where an assignment is the best option for everyone. But typically we double close. And a lot of that is, well, it is a lot more expensive for us to do all that work. It allows every transaction to the investor to be seamless and the same. So they know the experience they're going to get because we have clear title. We know we've already closed on it. We know the title's clear and we can present it to the investor the same way. Whereas there's a lot of times where it's truly just an assignment or you're not fully sure of what is going on with the property, that the closings can get really tricky. We also own a title company.
That was my next one.
That specializes in these transactions to help facilitate the smooth closings on both sides.
So you're essentially an end-to-end platform for redevelopers that everything from now, do you have a tech package like we have at Compass? Like Compass has the most amazing tech platform on the planet. Do you have a tech platform that you utilize that is across all of your different brokerages for the different agents to use?
We're built out of Salesforce. I don't know exactly what all Compass has. I've heard Compass has some pretty amazing things.
Yeah, our stuff is amazing, actually. Yeah.
I don't know what all it is, but
you have a tool called Likely to Sell that you guys would probably kill for.
Okay.
It's all AI. It's all AI based, and literally, like I will look at it and I'll see somebody who I sold a house to like a year and a half ago, and I'll be like, why are they in this? And I'll call them up just to say, hey, it's Andrea. How are you doing? Oh, wow. Well, my mother, blah, 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 fell down and broke her hip and we're actually moving to Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. And I don't know how they're getting all of that detail in there, but they're doing it. Okay. So you have a title company, you have hard money and other lenders, you have offices all over the country. Where are you sourcing all of the different homes that you're sourcing? Just through the regular MLS, or do you work through CoStar, LoopNet? Do you just work all over the place, or do you have your own proprietary tool?
We have, honestly, a little bit of everything because we have the agents in the markets specifically working to acquire properties for the marketplace. A big portion of our properties comes from real estate agents that are pre-market. They're like, hey, this needs too much work, or a traditional loan buyer will not be able to purchase this because foundation plus roof plus everything else. So we'll purchase a lot of those properties directly from agents, pay them a referral fee, cover the seller's closing costs. They get the volume and the units from it. And so it's kind of, that relationship is great. We also a lot of deals from wholesalers who are trying to move properties, and we just buy it from cash from them.
Explain that to me a little bit. Who is a wholesaler?
So a wholesaler can look like a lot of different things, but really what they're doing is they're essentially working with distressed sellers and going out and finding properties and sellers that need to, move quickly. And they're typically 1-person, 2-person teams, or they're bigger operations. But what they do is they basically get it under contract and then they go find a buyer. And a lot of times we end up being that buyer for them because we have this large back-end disposition marketplace for them, which we can sell to our investors and we'll pay cash. But wholesalers they're a very important part to the marketplace because they're talking to a lot of sellers and a lot of people that are in kind of bad situations and able to get them connected with people like us or landlords and other things in their market.
And are they trolling like bankruptcy records in courts? Are they trolling probate issues? How are they finding their stuff?
I think if you talk to 10 different wholesalers, you probably find 10 different answers, but I think a lot of them you have the very sophisticated route that is formulating their own PPC algorithms. They're doing mail. Then you have people that are going to the courthouse. You have people that are going door to door. Like, it really just depends on the wholesaler and where they're at in their kind of investment journey.
Mhm.
We luckily have just positioned ourselves as the marketplace for them to sell to. So
And
as long as they're doing it ethically, we're pretty much good with it.
do you, I mean, are you like the 800-pound gorilla in the room that all redevelopers all across the country sort of know about?
I would say that's not too far off. Yeah, we've been around the longest. We are the largest buyer in the country. So we have a lot of connections and a lot of kind of industry partnerships that kind of help us get there. But our agents and just kind of our name brand has really helped.
So how many transactions a year does your company do?
Let's see, upwards of 10,000.
Wow.
So we're doing a transaction about every 13 minutes. You know,
Okay. How do you sleep?
depends on the night. 3 kids under 5. So,
Lord, you don't sleep at all.
but I'm usually up thinking about other ways we can do things better over here. But I do enjoy it. That's for sure.
Is your passion? Is this your life's work? Do you believe?
I honestly did not think it would be. Like, I grew up not really knowing what I wanted to do. I started in speech paths, working with kids with special needs,
Mhm.
sold beer for a while, went to medical school, just my wife got pregnant, then worked for a golf channel and a, like biology and chemistry distributor, or we sold to research labs. And I stumbled upon here, and my wife and I have kind of lived and flipped 3 homes. So I've always enjoyed it.
Right.
Her mom and grandma are in real estate. And as soon as I got here and started learning and just diving in, I've loved every minute of it. I really can't see myself getting out of real estate after this.
Okay.
But I just truly enjoy the learning aspect. So I do think so. I would love to be here as long as I can.
That's very, very cool. So how does someone get involved with your organization? How would they find you if they needed to look you up?
Yeah. So, I mean, if you have gotten your license, you want to be on the investment side at Life at New Western, we are always looking at new hires. But otherwise, if you go to newwestern.com, there's a page for agents to sell to us or connect with us. There's a page for partners, for wholesalers, sellers, investors, obviously. And so really those 2 websites will get you pretty much everything you need. And you can always, reach out to me. I kind of help get everyone connected in the right spot.
Very cool. And let's say somebody isn't with your company and they have a house that they want to send your way because it's not selling or
Mhm.
big problem. Let's say you're representing Falling Waters, which apparently is going through a $7 million renovation right now.
Okay.
How does somebody connect with you for that? Does an agent have to be part of your company in order to refer to you?
No, I mean, we work with, over the last 2 years, we've gotten over $1 billion from real estate agents that don't work with us.
Mhm.
Those are just referrals that they've sent over, and we paid them either their commission, or we don't take buyer agent commission or whatever. We basically, every deal to be, figured out to help the seller, help the agent. But yeah, if you go to newwestern.com, there's a sell to us page. It's under agents, and that will get routed to people that I've specifically trained to work with real estate agents, so that we're giving you the best service and know how to understand all the different aspects of their listings or referrals.
Well, great. You have been just a delightful guest, and I think this has been highly informative, and it's a whole sector of real estate that most people don't even think about. So it's huge. It's enormous. What an enormous company you have. So, Kurt, thank you so very, very much. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Take good care.
Yeah, you too.
All
Appreciate it.
right. Bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Realizations Podcast. I hope our conversation has shed light on the true essence of real estate and the people behind it. As we wrap up, I want to extend my gratitude to our listeners for their support and engagement. Your feedback drives the heart of this podcast, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing to the Realizations podcast and leaving a review. Your support helps us reach more listeners and spread our message of positivity in the real estate industry. Until next time, remember to keep an open mind, embrace empathy, and always seek the good in every situation. I'm Andrea Gordon, signing off from Realizations. See you next time.